Hi, everyone. We are back with this week's episode of With Love Solé. Thank you for bearing with me in my irregularity of posting. Just been a major season of transition for me, we'll say, but I'm happy to be back. Given the sort of texture of society and of the collective right now, I feel like a topic that's really powerful for today is to look at nuance, 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 nuance. I feel like the more you raise into higher levels of consciousness, the more you start to understand and see nuance in a different way. In fact, oftentimes, and this is not always the case because there's not a one size fits all, but it is often true that as you sort of rise your level of consciousness, that you're able to kind of see and understand things and from such a higher place that in many ways you can see and understand all people's role in the whole grand design of things, right? Even the people you disagree with, the people you think are evil, whatever you want to call it, that you can understand the role that they play or what they're reflecting back to society in terms of who they are. And this is where a term like nuance really comes into play, and I think the thing about nuance is to say that there's layers to this, right? There's layers to this. There's layers to everything. There's layers to everything. It's not black and white. And I think a lot of the sort of mainstream narrative discourse is always black and white. It's like, what side are you on? Everybody wants to know what side you're on. And if you have any ability to just see with nuance that you realize it's not about picking a side. In fact, the which side are you on discourse is actually perpetuated by the powers that be to create division because then you're on this side or this side. And so then if you're on this side, then you have to be against the guys on this side. If you're on this side, you have to be against the guys on this side. And there's no understanding. There's no like, let's try to find like a middle ground. Nobody's looking for middle ground, whether it's politics, it's anything else. It's like us versus them. It's always this us versus them dichotomy. And this is the like ultimate age old divide and conquer tactic that has been used on humanity literally since like the dawn of time to divide and conquer. When we are divided as a people, we are much weaker. We point fingers at each other instead of like the true like problem here. We lose sight of nuance. We lose sight of our own humanity. We lose sight of our connection and interconnectedness and the oneness and all of the beautiful spiritual truths that are permeating our togetherness, even when I'm saying this person's the bad guy or this person's saying I'm the bad guy or that side is wrong and my side is right and vice versa. You're missing the mark. It's a total just 3D, seeing with your eyes, seeing with your, misperception, ultimately a broken axiom, which is where you built your entire worldview on your side being right. Your whole identity is built on your side being right. And so for that to be wrong would shatter your whole identity. And so there's no way people won't even look at possibly there's nuance, possibly there's gray area, possibly there's some truth here and some truth here and in fact even if when truths are seem contradictory that they can still both be sort of true. There's truth in all of it, and people no longer rely on their own discernment to say, well, this person said this and that part of it true is true for me, but that part of it is not, so I'm going to discard that, but I'm going to hear this, or I'm going to use the part that I feel like is not true for me to get clear on what is true for me. And that's where nuance comes in. Discernment and nuance, I feel like, go hand in hand because there's this sort of real-time ability to extract what you agree with and kind of discard what you don't. And it doesn't always mean that if you hear someone strongly taking a stance against everything you believe in, that it is not perfectly fine to take a stance back. But what I would encourage you to do, and I think what as you evolve your consciousness and you evolve yourself as a human being, that it's not so personal, it's not so personal. In fact, to me, anybody who I think of as evil, I honestly, I'm like, I feel for them. I feel bad for them because the amount of chaos and hell that you have to live in to be an evil person, to deal with the devil, to shake hands with demons, to just have married your own darkness, to be projecting it out on the world, you live in a daily hell. You live in a daily hell. And to me, I'm like, I just feel bad for you, son. Like, that's where I'm at. I don't even, it is what it is. Because if you believe in the laws of a universe that says that the universe is always cleaning up behind those and around and within those who are perpetuating evil and perpetuating darkness, and the many people on this planet who are actively choosing darkness over light, there's a lot of people on this planet who are doing that. And again, that doesn't mean we don't hold the light. That doesn't mean we don't continue to rise and shine light upon the darkness. None of that is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is leave room for nuance. Look for the humanity in people. Look for the light in people. If you're someone like me, you often see sometimes only the light in people, which can be detrimental and actually not helpful always. Because what ends up being is that you've brought the light to the situation, and so you brought the light out of the situation. You bring the light out of people, and sometimes that's the only moment of light that they have in their day, because the rest of it they're just dwelling in their own darkness. Because a lot of people are married to their darkness. They would much rather be in the agitation and the anger and the rage and the chaos and the disturbance and the da 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 that lives inside of them and just project that onto the world than actually have to face it. A lot of people are doing that. We're seeing it a lot in the world right now. Just rage, rage. And it's always finger pointing. It's always my side's better than your side. And just this absolute just war of the people right now. And those of us who can see both sides can kind of I understand this side, I also understand this side. I understand the humanity of this side and I understand the humanity of this side. I can see that, I sort of agree with this and I sort of agree with this. I sort of don't agree with this and I sort of don't agree with this. But I'm not either on either side. You're not going to divide me. You're not going to divide me. I think the more nuance you can hold, the less divided you become. Because when you can hold nuance, you can say, okay, it's like being a mediator for reality. If you have nuance, it's like being a mediator for reality. You can sit in the middle and have the sort of a neutral positioning of like, okay, I can kind of understand this. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say this, I'm going to mediate you here. And then, okay, I can kind of understand this. I'm going to mediate. Like, let's find the middle and let's let there be truth in both sides and it doesn't have to be right or wrong, good or bad. There's good over here, there's good over here. There's bad over here, there's bad over here. There's probably opportunity to elevate here, probably opportunity to elevate here. But it doesn't have to be war. And the thing is, people who lack nuance go straight to war. And that is what the whoever runs this freaking show it wants. That is literally what they want. They want us at war with each other. If you have nuance, you says, I'm not gonna go to war with my fellow man because he has a different political belief than me. I'm not gonna go to war with my fellow man because he holds a different ideology than me. I'm not gonna go to war with my fellow man because he has a different religious belief than me. I'm not gonna do that. Like, you're not going to dysregulate me. And that's what it comes down to, is that the dysregulation in me sees the dysregulation in you, meaning a lot of people are looking for it. They secretly, as much as they are so, outraged at the current thing, they love that stuff. They love it. They're literally like, can't wait to be out. What's they're to be outraged about today? Just on the edge of their seat to be outraged because they're not facing themselves. And then they expect everybody else to be on the edge of their seat to be outraged too. And if you have any amount of nuance, you're going to say, you know what? I might feel passionately about this. I might really not like this person. I might, feel strongly against this stance, but I don't need to go to war with you for it. You can still exist and I can just tune you out and let it be an example of who I absolutely do not want to be, someone I absolutely will not be taking advice from, someone whose life I absolutely do not want, and still understand the role that they play. Because if there's someone who exists with all of those beautiful characteristics of who you don't want to be and what you don't want to do and how you don't want to act, that's sort of the role of what is the archetypal devil, right? And the idea of the archetypal devil is that it gives you the absolute bottom of the bottom of who you don't want to be. Nobody actively wants to be the devil, although it's in this society, it sort of seems like people actively want to be that. But all it is that they're losing their inner battle. They're losing their inner battle. We are actively all choosing between darkness and light with every thought, with every action, with the way we treat each other, with how we're showing up, with our daily habits and routines. And when you do not have spiritual practice to hold you with a strong aura and an impenetrable energy field, then when chaos and commotion ensues on the planet, you just get absolutely wrapped up into the tornado and you just become a tornado yourself because you're not grounded in reality. You're not grounded in nuance and you're not grounded in yourself. And so I think what we start to see when things start to get disturbed on the planet and the collective just goes haywire is who has real spiritual practice and who has real discernment and real nuance and can actively see things from a higher perspective. Because they're not going to get so rattled. Again, it's one thing to be passionate, and I'm not ever going to knock you for being passionate. I'm not ever going to knock you for even kind of joining the fight, so to speak, because you feel passionately about this. And that's the role that you play. But know that there are 8 billion other people playing roles too. That one role is not right. It's right for you. Fantastic. If you know your rightful role, by all means, go out and do that and let it be as human AF. And let your power show in through your emotional stature. And even if it needs to seem like you're emotional about something because you have so much passion for it. Okay, cool. Play your role, but don't let it be that because you found your role that anybody else who isn't playing the same role as you is wrong. That's where nuance is lacked. This is where we have to understand we are in a divine tapestry. Humanity is a divine tapestry. Diversity is very intentional. The multidimensional ways we all show up and all exist and all the various things that make us who we are, super intentional. Our thought habits, what we've seen, what our experiences, the filters, the lenses, the religious ideologies, the way the list goes on. It's so intentional. There are 8 billion things that make me me and 8 billion things that make you you, and they might every single one of them be different, and it doesn't mean you're bad because you came from a different upbringing, because you see things in a different way, because you have a different political belief than me. It doesn't mean bad. I'm not going to make you bad because you're different than me. And I think that's what nuance understands. And that's what nuance sees is we're all playing a role. I know my role, it is to stay completely rooted in the solution. Completely rooted, because I sincerely believe if every single person decided today to commit to self-mastery, we would live in a different world tomorrow. Literally, to me, it would be that quick of a shift. So to me, I'm just going to stay there. I'm going to invite everybody onto the lane of self-mastery, and I'm going to stay aware of nuance. That maybe that's not someone's path, but it's my path, it's my life's work, and it is my invitation to all. That if we commit to our better people, we will have overnight a better world. And it starts by turning to face yourself. So I say all this to say, let's let nuance into the conversation a lot more. If you are on social media very much, you know nuance is like, holy cow, nowhere to be found. And it's time to bring it back. It's time to not make it, we're looking for the thing that makes this person the bad person, or you're going to not even like decide if you like this person until you figure out what their political, religious, or whatever else beliefs they have. Why don't you just meet them as a soul? Why don't we meet people there and let the energetic alignment or vibrational matchedness of our connections determine whether people stay? And again, you may find that, yeah, this is something that they really agree with, that I feel strongly I don't. It does not mean everybody's going to be a vibrational match. It does not mean that you have to have people in your life who you feel so far on either side of a spectrum of XYZ belief system. That's fine. You don't have to be friends with everybody. That's not the point. The point is to say, even when you're on the other end of the spectrum, I understand what you're doing. I understand why you exist. I understand the role you play for humanity. I understand the role you play in the divine tapestry. And that we're loosening this like good or bad and it being a fight between that, and we're finger pointing at each other. It's not that. We all have a role. We all have a role. If you know your role, great. Play your role. By all means, we need the key players playing their role, standing strong, taking a stance, holding the light. But to go against another grouping of people, grouping, the total generalization of a grouping of people because of how they look, because of what they believe in, because of what political hat they wear, guys, let's break the division. Let's break the division code. And it starts and ends with nuance. I can shake hands with you. I might believe nothing you say, have nothing I want to do with you, and I can still shake hands with you and have a conversation with you because I guarantee I'll learn something. I guarantee I'll learn something with you. We have something to learn from everybody. Everybody. Even the people we dislike the most, or we might want to call evil, or who are on the far, far, far end of the spectrum than us. Let's sit down with them. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's learn from them, if even who we don't want to be, right? And stop just this like absolute war against each other. It does not have to be that way. It is a very primed and polished tactic to keep us separate. And we shall no longer fall for it if we just use a little nuance, if we just let our humanity decide versus our ego or our ideologies. Meet people on a soul level, and it'll change everything. All right, I'm going to leave it there today. I'm just going to mention I did just launch a new program. It's a monthly kind of program slash container where I'm working with people one on one. You get daily voice notes, text messages from me. We're digging deep. We're doing all the things. We're looking at real time, your practices, tendencies, habits, how you think, what you do, how you relate to your reality, and we're taking like a month at a time to like build and build. And I'm offering my service in this way. If that appeals to you, you can send me an email, message, anything that you, however, it's a pigeon, however you want to reach me. But I've been feeling really good about it. And I think many of you have already signed up with me. And I think it's a great way for us to just lock in and you to get some kind of personalized guidance from me. So send me a message if that sounds good to you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Much love, everyone.